What's up, everybody? My name is Galston Anthony, the best to ever do it in another G2G episode of this podcast. Now, today in studio, I got somebody particularly interesting. It's a home ground advantage, so I'll be questioning nonetheless as deep as I can. And it is a DA mayor candidate for City of Tshwane. Now, he was once a mayor before. Now he's going to be mayor again. Is that possible? I'm speaking about Cilliers Brink. How you doing?
Good on you. Great to be with you.
It's good to meet you. So, Cilliers, you know it's going to be hard talk.
I'm ready.
You ready? All right. No fluff. We're getting straight to it.
Yes.
All right. Why didn't you pay the $6.6 billion?
What 6.6 billion?
We understand that Eskom and part of SARS have not been paid their money while you were in the term of 2023 to 2024 of your electoral time. Why did you not pay it? Because that's what they voted you out, voted with no confidence. Why was it not done?
Well, that's a false premise in the first instance. I did not accumulate 6.6 billion rand in my term of office. I was elected in March 2023, and I was in the office for 18 months. Now, it's very important to understand what has happened in Tshwane politics leading up to that event. In 2020, just as the COVID lockdown was coming down, the ANC Gauteng government decides to place the city of Tshwane under administration. The city council is dissolved, and because there is COVID-19 lockdown, you cannot have an election. The constitution says if a council is dissolved, you have to have an election within 90 days. You can't vote under lockdown. Prior to the city being placed under administration in March 2020, the city had a budget surplus of over 200 million rand. When the ANC Gauteng administrators were eventually evicted from the city by court order 7 months later, the city at the end of that financial year had a deficit of more than 4 billion rand. Now, what happened under lockdown, obviously all municipalities were under pressure, but there was no council to do any oversight over appointments, tenders, and the spending of money. It was a financially disastrous period of time for the city. And it is after that period of administration that Tshwane started falling behind on its Eskom bulk services bill, and it accumulated.
And we're talking about what year?
So we're talking about 2021.
All right, so that's when Randall Williams got into office.
But here's the important point I'm making, which I hope you don't miss that, is that the financial distress in the city of Tshwane was induced by undemocratic means. And that force, that intervention, had to be fought off by legal means. So it's very easy. It's very easy to say to subsequent mayors, oh, you've accumulated. But what about the damage that was done in the city? So that's when the city started falling behind the Eskom debt. Now, please allow me to talk about the SARS liability.
Oh, before we get there, let's just try and finish this.
Because you bundled that together.
I did bundle them together, but let's separate them. But now we had Randall Williams in office. So the Williams administration in that 2-3 years, it was 2 years that he was in there, decided to resign because we could see that there was going to be a vote of no confidence for him too. And you got in and there was no vote of confidence of you. Is that a reflection of a DA problem?
So here you have a city, and as I explained to you, we've been hit by serious interventions from the Gauteng government. But coalition politics in Gauteng metros has been chaotic. It hasn't been, oh, this mayor hasn't performed. It's been a shifting coalition of votes. The ANC governed Tshwane for 2 decades, and it deployed its cadres into key positions which were meant to be staffed by independent professionals.
I feel like you're already running away from that.
No, sorry. Let me finish the point.
Are you going to come to the point?
If I don't finish the point, I'm not going to be able to answer your question. So we have had coalition chaos with the ANC and its network of cadres, tenderpreneurs, and the Gauteng government trying to grab back power while manipulating internal influences. That is not a reflection of the performance of any mayor. That is the reflection of a chaotic system, a coalition politics to which order has to be established.
But you have an administration. How did you not have control over your administration to make sure that mess does not, taint your administration? This is why I asked, is that a DA problem? Or are you speaking about sabotaging between the two parties?
You got to understand. Do you understand how a municipality operates?
I do.
A municipal manager is appointed by a majority vote in council. It's unlike any other position in government. You have a director general in the National Department of Education, for example. That person isn't appointed by parliament by political vote. At local government level, the municipal manager is appointed by a council vote. The budget is passed by a council vote. Long-term loans, bylaws, other critical decisions. And if your government as a mayor does not have a majority in council, that places you in a disadvantage. And that's unfortunately what we've had with unstable coalition politics. But let me
So
finish.
DA's failure is because of ANC.
Let me finish the point about Eskom, though, because I'm sure you could concede the point on the numbers that what happened with the city of Tshwane being placed under administration by the ANC was financially disastrous. You can make no other assumption from that.
But the
Now
question,
what's left?
I think the question was, then why did not you pay back? Because now the question right underneath that would be, when you got voted out for no confidence, Dr. Moyo came in and some things actually started working.
Well, you are assuming a great deal of things without letting me explain the history.
Okay. I mean, the history, we hear in the history, but it
So
sounds like a set of excuses. Yeah?
you tell me, you've been shot. You've been shot. You need to go to hospital. Why aren't you out of the emergency ward within 2 days? The reason is you need to recover. If you go from a budget surplus of more than 200 million to a budget deficit of more than 4 billion, there are going to be implications. You can't just say, oh, but why don't you pay Eskom? It is because you need to rebuild systems that have been intentionally broken down by ANC cadres inside the administration, but more especially from the Gauteng provincial government. Now, you did ask about SARS.
Let's
and
go
you
to
have
SARS.
to allow me
Yep.
to finish there. In 2012, the city of Tshwane passes a contract for the supply of smart prepaid electricity meters. The Minister of Finance, Pravin Gordhan, at that time, writes to the Mayor of Tshwane, Hosienso Ramogopa, who's got a different role now, and says, if your council passes this budget, you would break the law. That information is not given to council back in 2012. This contract is concluded by the municipality. It is financially disastrous, one of the parts of the ANC legacy. When the DA came to power, we went to court, we successfully extracted ourselves from that contract. But in terms of the provision of that contract, the city gave a service provider direct access to sweep its bank account to collect commission for prepaid electricity. That provision did not account for output VAT. It didn't account for it. So years and years later, SARS makes this discovery. The city of Tshwane, under provincial administration, makes a secret deal with SARS to pay back the money. And it was left again to a DA administration to sort that out. We went to a SARS in 2024. We got a significant rebatement, about 300 billion rand, on a 2.5 billion rand VAT penalties and interest. And most of that money was paid off under my term of office as executive mayor.
You from a legal background, by the way, right? You've got LLB at Law, Pretoria University. Why did you not, DA, open a case against that matter and say, no,
there's a case.
There's a case?
Yes.
And how far is that case right now?
I can't tell you because I'm not in charge of the prosecuting authority. Not only did we open a case, we went to the High Court. We got the contract set aside. When I was a member of parliament, I in fact asked follow-up questions. Here's the case number. And I can give you the case number.
Oh, please
I just
do.
don't have it on my fingertips. So there is a case. But like most
Also
instances,
give us a service provider that
like
allegedly...
most instances of corruption and maladministration in this country, we had the Zondo Commission. Where did that go? Unfortunately, we've got a broken prosecuting authority. So I can tell you certainly it wasn't for a lack of reporting the matter. Payo was a very, very important part of Tshwane politics for a long time.
So how corrupt is DA?
The DA is not a corrupt organization.
Let me ask it this way. So we have two scenarios. There's a budget for a bridge, 10 bridges. Do
The
you build
hypothetical
the
scenario.
hypothetical 10 bridges? And do you build 8, steal the money for 2, never build the 2, or have the budget for 10 bridges and steal money for 11? Which one is DA?
No scenario that includes stealing of the money.
I want to come back to it. I want to challenge it. Are you sure? Because the thing is, a lot of accusations have
So
been happening
tell
with DA.
me what you mean, not with reference to a hypothetical building bridges and stealing money. Tell me what you mean.
There's a couple of tweets and posts that I want to read to you. But before I do that, I want to go back into the matters of the people, right? And the matter is, does DA care about black people? And if so, how?
The DA's philosophy is that we want a society where every individual has freedom and dignity, without reference to race, to culture, to background. Now, that is not a denial.
And where have you
Can
demonstrated
I
that?
answer the question?
Sure.
That is not a denial of the differences between people. Within the Democratic Alliance's own support base, there are significant cultural differences which the party has over many years had to bridge. If you are in any diverse society, you bring together people of different backgrounds. And if you believe that a society of different people is a zero-sum game between those people, black and white, or colored and Indian, or workers and employers, then you can't have a successful society. That is what leads to the fracturing of society. And whether you call that tribalism, whether you call that, groupthink, the point is the Democratic Alliance is a party, and I understand the majority of people might not agree with this at any given time, but we are a party that represents individual freedom and dignity and opportunity. And our worldview is that South Africans do have enough in common to have a sustainable society, to get the economy growing, to build a capable state, and to ensure that there's a place and a future for everybody. It is not a zero-sum game.
I do not agree with that.
Our
I do not agree with
worldview.
that. Your worldview is taken, but I don't agree with that because if we look at a situation, I live in Pretoria East. Well, I live in Sandton, but I've got a couple of houses in Pretoria East, and I've lived in Pretoria East for many, many years while you were mayor. Silverwood's Country Estate, everybody knows that estate as, Oscar Pistorius estate. And we have water issues. That was in your mayor term, all right? Not being fixed. Number two, down the road, we have Mamelodi.
Sorry, so you had water issues in Silverwood Estates when I was mayor, and somehow this is a reflection of the Democratic Alliance's
Do you not represent them?
and our No, I'm asking, is that what you say?
We'll get to the worldview. This is where I'm connecting it, right? So down the road, we have Mamelodi.
Yes.
Mamelodi is the very opposite of what Silver Lakes is. DA, what is DA doing in that area? Because now the question was, does DA represent the good of overall of the people, the equality of the people? I don't see DA doing anything in Mamelodi, but right
When
across
last
the
have you
road.
been in Mamelodi?
Well, a couple of weeks ago.
All right. Well, you should have seen us there campaigning in a by-election. We had a very strong, credible candidate with a very good effort. And to us, we are a political party in opposition in Tshwane at the moment. And our way of influencing policy is to gain sufficient votes in order to influence the direction of government.
Okay.
And
order
we do
to
that.
influence, what have you
do
done
that
prior
by
to that?
establishing
You
structures.
had a good 5 to 10 years prior to this, and I'm talking about DA as a whole. What have
Sorry,
they done?
just explain that to me.
Okay. So, like I said, across the road we have Silver Lakes. All right, nothing hurts.
So the 5 to 10 years, please explain that to me.
The 5 to 10 years is in the time that you're campaigning to make sure that all is a level of equal for everybody. Because we're going to come to Cape Town. Cape Town is even worse.
Cape Town is worse as what?
We'll get there, but let's stick to Mamelodi.
I would really, really like to get to that.
All right.
And I
Mamelodi.
want to know what statistics you're referring to.
I'll give you the exact statistics. Mamelodi is still a mess. Mamelodi still has bad roads. Mamelodi still has violence. Mamelodi still does not have water. Well, they've got better electricity than we do in Silver Lakes. I don't know if that is doing with the illegal connections or it has to do with DA or any ANC. I don't know. But it's not coming together. What has DA done over these years to show that they will do better for everybody else? Because it seems DA only helped the areas where DA people live and forget about the black people.
That is very cheap and easy rhetoric, which you can spread on social media with social media paid influencers.
Then correct it.
Social media influencers. The point of the fact is you take over a government and you try and make sure that the public money is spent most effectively to build a capable state, to build infrastructure for services, to build an accountable, productive workforce. But it doesn't mean that you can magically overturn long historical divisions and forces, and that simply by having been the DA mayor for 18 months, that magically things will just go perfect. If we are having a serious conversation and you're putting that to me, I'll put it to you that is a complete a misrepresentation of what it takes to govern any place.
Okay, so how do we trust you that in this 18 months, all right, because now we're putting responsibility on you. 18 months of you being mayor, and there's not a single thing in any of these townships that has been done by DA to show that, hey, if you were here a bit longer.
Sorry, you stating that as a fact?
Oh, wait, correct me?
Are you stating that?
I've seen nothing.
But here's the problem. I mean, you tell me you live in Sandton and Pretoria East.
Right.
You say we do nothing in townships. Did you do any research on this before making the statement?
I'm walking around and seeing nothing.
You're walking around seeing nothing?
Yep. Tell me what is there.
No, but to me, this is a serious point, because if we're going to have a serious conversation, surely you should know something about what's actually going on. Let's take Hammanskraal, for example. Terrible situation for many years. The infrastructure, the Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant, was not upgraded. As the population grew, so the problem became worse and worse. In my mayoralty, I said that successive governments have failed the people of Hammanskraal. It is time we stop bickering over the issue and take hands, and that is what we did.
What was done?
Sorry, can I finish the answer? Because, I mean, having asked me the question on a false premise that we've done nothing, just give me the opportunity to answer. So we agreed with the national government that a new solution is required. In that term of office, a package plant was built on the Pinars River that is not polluted, that will supply the people of Hammanskraal with clean water in their taps and eliminate the water tankering mafia that is operated in that area for so long. I cannot take credit for it alone. We took hands with national government. Unfortunately, that project stalled after I was voted out as mayor and the ANC EFF Action SA coalition took over. That preoccupied a significant part of my 18 months in office. There was tragedy, there was a breakout of cholera, and that tragedy spurred us to, in fact, finish that solution. So as we speak here, I believe the people of Hammanskraal can have clean water in their taps exactly because of the initiatives that we implemented. Shoshanguve, can we go further?
Well done. Number one. Give me number two. Give me 3 examples, and I want to see it's done.
We've gone from your premise of the DA does 0 for townships.
No, I said I have seen nothing. I didn't say 0.
So I'm educated. All right. Okay, I'm informing you. Great. Second example, Shoshanguve, major township in the northwest of the city. It has a lot of power outages for a combination of factors, including illegal connections and land grabs, because land grabs feeds illegal connections. People always think that, if you complain about land grabs, you must be some kind of a suburbanite. Land grabs are the biggest issue in townships, where people with bonded houses that pay their municipal bills are afflicted by a sense of lawlessness, and then you get a lot of illegal connections. And that's what has happened in Shoshanguve over a period of time. And we have devised a solution to stabilize the electricity supply of Shoshanguve, the Block JJ substation. I was there just this week. And I'm very happy that the work is progressing, that we started to build a new feed there to stabilize the electricity supply. And that is a practical example of what we've done to assist people in townships. If you look, and okay, so now we're on 2 from your 0.
Now give me a 3.
3.
Give me a hat trick.
3. I'm going to give you a hat trick. The Townlands housing development in Marabastad is a project that languished over many years. It is essentially an assistance to that missing middle. I don't know if you're aware of the.
I know what a missing middle is. Yeah.
So it's a hand up.
Marabastad is not a township. It's right in the city.
Marabastad is not a township, but the folks who live in Townlands are people who come from townships, even from informal settlements, folks that I met, to live close to places of work, close to schools. That was a significant project. And I believe that Townlands can be an example for other cities of how to tackle social and gap housing initiatives. I want to round this off by saying that Tshwane doesn't spend nearly enough on infrastructure. And that goes back to your question. Why don't you just pay the bills? Sorry, can I finish this point?
Okay, finish the point.
Why don't you just pay the ESCOM bills? Why don't you just pay it? Point is, you build up a capital and a financial base with years and years of uninterrupted good government. That's how you do it. Just like a household savings. You don't just land in it. You build it up. And if it has been broken down and depleted, as it was under the ANC provincial administration between March and October 2022, you have to rebuild it up again.
Then how do you explain?
Now,
How do you
now,
explain Action
no,
SA?
sorry, let me
Because
finish.
SA, because
Give me this one allowance.
I-
This one
this
allowance,
one
and
allowance,
I
okay,
give
good.
it back to you. So, we don't spend nearly enough as a city on infrastructure in townships, but we don't have nearly enough of a capital budget to do so in a meaningful way. If you look at the city of Cape Town, they have got a 9 billion rand capital budget. That gives them the ability to build new roads, sewers, infrastructure, to stabilize the supply of electricity. And what we need to do is to get Tshwane on that sound financial footing so that you have the ability to spend the bulk of the money that you raise as a municipality on putting stuff in the ground. Because if you don't do that, that's when infrastructure deteriorates. Back to you.
So now you mentioned that a lot of the budget is spent inside the city. Okay. Vaporant, always going down, right? That's Pretoria East that feeds Silver Lakes, Equestria, and many of those areas. I mean, it's been years on years on years, even before COVID, that problem was there. Explain yourself. It's in the hands, when it was in the hands of DA, it was not fixed neither. Now, you can't say it's because of previous issues, because that is causing more and more issues the more you don't fix it.
So
And then, actually, on that
Yeah.
note, which area do you live in?
I live in Vaporant.
Vaporant.
Yeah.
Okay, so you understand.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that
do.
Vaporant place doesn't affect Vaporant, but it affects everyone else outside of it. Am I correct?
It doesn't affect everyone outside of it, but it is a serious issue. Absolutely.
Why is it
correct.
not fixed?
Vaporant was on budget, on project timeline, the day I was voted out as executive mayor. The substation, as it stands there, all of the money has been spent in the meantime. It just hasn't been connected to an electricity source. So I will readily admit that we have got a lot of work to do to get value for money, to improve the professionalism of the administration, to make sure that we can finish projects on time. And even as an executive mayor, I said, in the city of Tshwane, there are networks of corruption which are operating, which still need to be shut down. And you don't do that by the flip of a switch. You do that by hard, purposeful work year after year after year. But the city has not had one committed administration that can govern for 5 years with a mandate, with a majority in council. And that is why we have to consolidate our politics, and why I am asking for a mandate to make the DA the biggest party in Tshwane.
Are you mad that Action SA, Dr. Moyo, is a better mayor than you are? Are you mad as a black female doing the job better than a white male?
Can you explain how she is a better mayor?
I'm saying, are you mad
No,
about
but if the premise,
because you
if the
always
premise of the question
bicket
is,
about her a lot on the news, on the media, and so forth. Why are you mad at her?
it's an interesting thing that social media does, especially if you've got a lot of the exchanges there driven by bots and paid influencers. Is there's an attempt to turn politics into a kind of a soap opera. Oh, he must be so upset, and he must be, this and that, and of course, folks who voted for Action SA should be the most upset. Their electoral mandate in 2021, with Herman Mashaba mumbling, "I will never ever work with the ANC under any circumstance." That was his mandate. It's the clearest thing he said. The rest was mumbled. And he's betrayed that mandate, not only chucking out a government that was making progress, but bringing back the ANC, whose cadre state has been such a big cause of disruption. So I think Action SA voters will be upset, and they sort of kind of started showing Action SA that they're upset. But politics is not really a soap opera with drama and personalities and so forth. I had a very good relationship with Nasipi Moya as my deputy mayor. I don't think she was very keen on the deal that Herman Mashaba struck with the ANC, but she's adapted to it, and now she's in the position of mayor. I'm in the position of leader of the opposition. What do you do as an opposition? You hold government to account. You examine their performance. You examine their policies. You look at the budget, for example, and see that the budget deficit, instead of being cured by good financial management, they've raised a waste collection tax, which is a disaster. Nobody knows who should pay it, who shouldn't pay it. You see instances of the deputy mayor of the city, Eugene Modise, who is implicated in doing business with the city. The mayor has that information. She's done nothing about it. You see water tanker expenditure going up to 770 million rand since Moya became the mayor. Now you tell me, as a leader of the opposition who takes our job seriously, do you honestly not want us to hold government to account? Do you want us to try and behave like, we're good players in a soap opera? No, let me answer. No.
So my question was for you.
We are here to hold government to account. And it's not about being upset. It's about doing your job. It's about accounting to the people because they are what matters.
So you didn't hold yourself accountable when you were voted out. But now that someone that was a deputy is voted in or is in that position, you're holding her to account.
Just help me. How does one hold yourself to account if your coalition partners withdraw and they sell out to the other side? Like, what am I supposed to do? Congratulate them for betraying their electoral mandate? It doesn't really make sense to me. You had a government that was making progress. You had a month before this vote of no confidence, Action SA releasing a statement saying how wonderfully we're all doing in government together, the progress made on Hammanskraal, the progress made on the finances, the progress made by the audit outcome. Within the span of a month, that story changes. They bring the ANC back to power, the same party that has systematically looted the state, induced financial distress. We then make this clear to the public. What exactly do you want us to do then?
On that note, how do you feel about Herman Mashaba? And this is why I'm going to ask you that question. Because
I'm guessing you conceded the previous point if you're moving on to the next.
Not necessarily. So my questions are attached to each other. From the previous statement, you mentioned that you guys built and fixed some sort of a water situation in Hammanskraal.
We devised a solution to a very long-standing problem. Yeah, that solution still needs to be delivered.
It still needs to be delivered. It's not delivered.
It's very close to my heart.
Okay. So let me have the question. Let me complete the question.
I was removed as mayor in the middle of that.
Let me complete the question.
Yeah.
And at that stage right now, Action SA is not as mayor. Well, they are the ones running the area city of Tshwane, and they have not touched that project, have they?
They hold the mayoral position. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say they haven't touched that project. I would say that unfortunately, the interest in Hammanskraal and in devising that solution and carrying it through, because the solution is still on the table.
Because then that question came in. How do you feel about Herman Mashaba based on the fact that you claim that DA started it and Herman Mashaba is from that area and you said they've held the project for not moving? What has he done and how do you feel about that?
I think that's a fair question. I think that Herman Mashaba was a political leader who had a lot of promise. And many people saw him in Joburg seemingly standing up to corruption. And they thought here is an alternative. Unfortunately, what we've learned since then is that Herman Mashaba is not as serious a political leader as he has made out to be. He leads a party that after 6 years still hasn't had an elective Congress. It holds no clear policy positions. It swings from one prospectus to voters to another. So I think that Herman Mashaba is a great disappointment to many people. And he also has had a great deal in the damage that has been done in trust relationships and coalition politics in Tshwane.
So you don't trust him and don't think he should?
I certainly do not trust him.
Do not trust him. Okay. I just wanted us to be clear on your feeling about him and how, as far as deliverance is concerned. Because I
greatly admired him during a particular period before he went into politics. Because he's an astute businessman, he's a self-made man. He did a lot of things for himself during a difficult period. During apartheid, he essentially started a business enterprise, but he has not been able to relate that into a credible offer of politics and government.
I can tell you to think of him as a disappointment. Now, let's go back to townships, Cape Town. This has always been a passionate topic about, South Africa and DA. Again, I'm one person who's got properties in different parts of the country, and I live on the Western Seaboard. But when you get to the Atlantic Seaboard and the Western Seaboard for that matter, everything is in order. Everything is in order. Just get out of it. Go to Dunoon. Western Seaboard is closer to Dunoon. Go to Gugulethu. Go to Langa. Go to Mitchell's Plain. It is a mess there. Now, the governance of DA seems to do good as far as the tourists can see, but not for the majority of the people. Why is that the case?
Cape Town has got the highest rate of access to water, to sanitation, to drivable roads and basic services of all the metros in the country. It's not me that's saying it. It's Stats SA.
But yet they're the
So
poorest,
what
they're the
you
poorest metro as far as black people are concerned.
no, you've got no statistics to back that up.
Okay.
You've got no statistics to back. Let me finish the point because you keep on interrupting me. Best access to basic services in the country. What you are criticizing is the inequality. You are criticizing the fact that there are certain parts of Cape Town that are very wealthy, and there's lots of foreign money buying properties in Cape Town, and that has got an escalating effect on the inequality. I agree. We have to lift people out of poverty and create opportunities.
But you had
But
the
just-
opportunity for the
sorry.
past 20 or so years,
Sorry.
because DA
Can I
has
fi-
been,
can I
has
finish
been
it?
there
Can
for
I
all the
finish-
years.
Can I finish the point? People are moving to Cape Town from the Eastern Cape, from the Free State, from Gauteng, from Limpopo, are streaming to Cape Town exactly because there is access to basic services. The urbanization rate in Cape Town is one of the indicators that that city is creating opportunities for people. The other indicator is that the employment rate in Cape Town is consistently higher than the rest of the country. So are things ideal in Cape Town? Absolutely not. But the DA needs to run the country, not just Cape Town, in order to
Deflecting.
create the
Deflecting.
kind of
Let's go back to
economic
Cape Town.
growth.
That's deflecting. All right, because we.
Deflecting from what?
All right, I'll
'Cause-
tell you.
'cause you're-
You said
you
country. We
suggest-
spoke
you
about Cape
suggest
Town.
to
We
me-
spoke about
You
Cape Town. Give me
suggest
an
to me
opportunity.
because Cape Town
me-
has got a DA mayor.
Right? No,
that-
it's
that
got
all of
DA
its problems-
governance. It's got DA governance through and through. Okay.
What
now-
about national government in Cape Town?
Yeah, well, national government is there too. But
what about
you gotta
what
let
about
me.
the
You gotta let me
police
ask my
in
question,
Cape Town?
and we'll
That
get
is
to
the
the
national
police.
government competence.
We'll get to the police as well because I have to touch on that matter. All right. You say there's a lot of urbanization and people going to Cape Town. Admittedly, I'm one of the people that got a place in Cape Town because I saw things are in order. Why not go to Cape Town? As a matter of fact,
I wasn't talking
matter-
about you. I
yeah,
was
but
talking
we'll
about
get
the
to-
poorest of the poor who
we'll
are
get to the
desperate
poorest.
for
but nobody's
basic
moving.
services, which they're not
Nobody's
getting.
moving from Mamelodi to Guguletu because it's better off in Guguletu. You're better off being in Mamelodi than Guguletu any day. You're better off in being Soshanguve being in Mitchell's Plain any day. Why is that the case? If DA makes things work.
It depends. It depends on. Are you honestly saying that the service you haven't responded at all to what I've said about the basic levels of services?
You're talking about water.
You've
right?
just ignored that completely.
I'm answering the question. You said water. I said, okay, cool.
Water, electricity, sanitation, roads.
Okay. Now,
all of that.
And we're zooming in and looking on inequality in that regard. People are moving from Durban to Cape Town. People are moving from Johannesburg to Cape Town.
It's good to talk about inequality. You haven't responded at all. You said to me,
statistically, you're correct. Statistically,
okay,
you are
the
correct.
man can make a concession. There we go.
Statistically, you're correct, but you're not talking about the fact that someone can move out from Mamelodi to Guguletu. If nobody's moving from Atteridgeville to Khayelitsha, they'd rather move from that area to here because it's so much better here, as bad as it is.
I'm not sure if you're living in Mamelodi, there are necessarily a lot of opportunities coming up for you that you know of in Cape Town, because that's a very long distance. But the point of the fact is, if you compare basic services across the country to basic services in Cape Town, it's better. It's better.
Cilliers, we're talking about the majority of the people, all right? I'm going to double click on it again. I moved to Cape Town to make sure that I pay more and earn less because governance is good. That is Galston, Anthony. How many of me exist? Very little. How many people live in Mamelodi? They're not going to leave to go to Khayelitsha. It's worse there. It's worse. It's much more dangerous.
If you're unemployed in Mamelodi and you can get a job and you can get transportation and there's somebody to support you in Khayelitsha or Guguletu, I think you will.
You say the thing.
But listen, I mean, this is such a random example. It's
not random.
Why are people from Mamelodi not immigrating to Guguletu or Mas? I mean, is that really your standard of governance? Have you ignored?
No. Okay.
Sorry,
you
sorry.
have it wrong. It's not a standard of governance. This is the people. They're living in. You and I live in a rich suburb.
Have you ignored?
Right? We're not going to the poor suburbs.
Have you ignored Alexandra, have you ignored the inner city of Johannesburg? Is that not a basis of comparison? So you zoom in, you zoom in on Cape Town, best access to the basic services of every metro in the country. People go there, poorest of the poor, in search of better schools, better hospitals, better services. And you zoom in on the fact that there are inequalities of wealth in Cape Town. I'm sorry, what about Joburg? The whole situation is worse in Joburg. The whole setup is worse in Joburg. In Cape Town, you actually have an ethic of spending public money for value. Now, that's not a rich person's thing. It is the poorest of the poor that suffer most if money gets stolen, if projects don't get completed. And on every imaginable metric, Cape Town, after years and years of DA governance, certainly is not perfect, but it is a lot better than the rest of the country.
Cilliers, we're talking Johannesburg. We'll come back to Cape Town because you mentioned Johannesburg. I live in Ward 90. Who lives in Ward 90? Me?
I'm not
Herman
a
Mashaba?
Joburger. I'm not quite sure where Ward 90 is.
Ward 90 is Sandton, right? It's the Sandown area, Athol area. Me and Herman Mashaba live in the same area. No water. Ward 91, easily the richest ward in all of South Africa. No water, no electricity.
Yeah,
Guess what?
terrible.
Both of them are both DA. They've
DA
been
what?
DA wards.
Are you saying that a ward councillor provides water to an area?
Oh, no. The ward councillor is the one that makes sure that the
Fights,
job has been done, that fights for it.
That fights a corrupt, ineffective government. I'm sorry. You can't say, because I live in a DA ward in an ANC gutted municipality, now suddenly you should expect magic to happen. No. That's not how things work. Service, energy reticulation, water reticulation, sewage, waste collection, those capital projects, those operational expenses aren't determined by your ward councillor. And if you believe that, then a serious education is needed here. You govern a city, and then the folks who govern the city, the people who govern the city, the mayor and the mayoral committee who've got a majority in council, they determine how things go. Your ward councillor is your advocate. He's the representative, or she's the representative that fights for services. Now, those ward councillors very often can manage to get service or get things done in their wards. But if you don't have a good budget, if you don't have good management, if you don't have good policy at a city level, even the ward councillor, they can part the Red Sea, but there's certain things that even a good ward councillor can't do.
17 people a day die in the city of Tshwane when you were mayor. For that year, 18 months, right? We're going to average it out.
I'm not sure if that's true, but I'm
giving you statistics now.
I'm trusting
giving
you
you statistics of your own city.
Yeah.
68 people in Cape Town are murdered a day. Combined, that is 85 people a day that die in these two municipalities under DA. Now, let me finish the question.
Okay.
Let me finish the question.
Yeah, sure.
In Palestine, over the past 760 or so days, if we average it out, we have 96 people dying a day. 85 to 96.
How does the DA governors come
now
into
that seems
Palestine?
that on a war zone in
Oh,
Palestine,
you compare it to
it's
war zone.
happening that people are murdered every single day. And in DA combined, it's also about the same number. Do you not think there's a problem there? Because most of these people are
Can I ask you,
black.
Who was the Minister of Police when I was Mayor of Tshwane?
I believe it was Becky Calais at the time.
Right. Who's the Minister of Police now?
Jesus, what's his name?
I can't remember either. It's an acting guy. The point I'm trying to make, South African police is under the control of national government.
Oh, so the Metro Police means nothing, because at the time
were
mayor,
I'm sorry.
You were the commander and chief of the Metro Police.
Allow me to respond to this. The South African police takes a big chunk of the tax money that ordinary South Africans pay, and they've got a massive budget for crime intelligence, for policing. Even if a Metro Police officer arrests you for drunk driving, Metro Police don't have a holding cells. Metro Police have to take you to a South African police cells. Metro Police can't do crime intelligence. They can't apply for court orders to tap phones, to look into organized crime. We have police stations because national government is the provider of policing services. Hold on.
Police?
Hold on before you get excited.
Police?
Hold on.
have to help prevent
Sorry.
this?
South African police have got the budget, they've got the mandate, they've got the people. The city of Cape Town has done an admirable job in the 1,000 or so Metro Police officers that they have. They've gone beyond the mandate of Metro Police, which is traffic policing, bylaw enforcement, and preventative policing. They've gone beyond that. And they've even pushed the constitutional limits of what they can do by deploying law enforcement officers, by deploying gun detection technology, drones, and all of these things. But if the Metro Police does not have the power to do the crime intelligence, to have the resources that the South African police has, you cannot blame the mayor of Cape Town for serious organized crime and gun violence and gang
We're not
violence.
blaming the mayor of Cape Town.
I'm sorry.
Blaming,
I'm sorry.
We're
I'm sorry.
putting DA at question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So you've made
No.
you've made your points, right?
No.
You've made your points, but I have to bring this into.
Let me finish this though. Let me finish this. This line of questioning where you zoom into a particular area and say, because the DA had a mayor there, or because the DA had a ward councillor there, is dishonest. You're misinforming your audience. We are in a situation where South Africa was effectively a dominant party democracy for most of our time. We are moving out of that. But in the 30 years that the ANC had sole power of government, they systematically captured the state, deployed cadres, destroyed resources, and prevented the economy from realizing its potential. Now you want to zoom into particular places where the DA can provide the water, the electricity, can stimulate the local economy, and you want to blame DA mayors for the failures of ANC national government, while those DA mayors have been begging and fighting for the police incompetencies. That is not a fair assessment. And I think you should relook that if you want to educate your audience.
Johannesburg is the biggest city. It does not have the crime rate. It does not have the death rate of these two cities, Pretoria or Cape Town. So in a city that big, why do we have less numbers and we have DA running on the other side?
I think a very important question is, why has policing resources been taken out of the Western Cape? And why has the national government not been held to account for that?
Why is DA supporting the Jews?
So you want to elaborate on that question a little bit?
Well,
I'm sure you don't
there's
want
a
to
rhetoric.
leave it hanging right there.
Yeah, I actually want to understand from your standpoint. This is an open-ended question. I did speak about the war zone factor and compared the numbers to DA and Palestine. And then there's always this talk about Jews and DA. Now, it's always open-ended. We don't know what's happening. We know about some Jews being invited into Cape Town. What is going on there? What is the support about? Explain it to us so that we understand. That you're not condoning deaths?
Can I give you the DA's position as I
Go ahead.
comprehended? Because again, your question comes with a whole lot of premises, like the Jews.
It's an open-ended question. You've got the opportunity to answer.
Yeah. So the DA supports a two-state solution in Israel and Palestine. It is an enormously complicated situation that many sides have got many very emotive opinions on historical issues there. But South Africa should position itself in order to promote that position of a two-state solution. I am very relieved at the ceasefire that has been achieved there. I cannot tell you if it's going to last. I do hope it lasts, but from my perspective, my day-to-day focus is on this country and its people and their well-being. And as much as we can project and pontificate about the Middle East, it is in most instances beyond the direct control of South Africa how that very, very tragic situation plays out.
Do you know why I think DA is a failure?
You're going to tell me anyway.
I am. Helen Zille is running for the city of Johannesburg. Now there's a whole bunch of rhetorics. Oh, she's proven that she can run the city. You know, she's got background. She's been in it for a long time. And my argument to DA has always been, have you failed so much that you couldn't find someone else? Hell, it doesn't even have to be a black person. It could be another white person, it could be Indian, hell, it could be anybody. But you had to get Helen Zille to come do the job herself. Why do you allow internally. I understand how powerful she is, but why do you guys allow her DA to run for mayor? Why not anybody else?
Johannesburg deserves the best possible mayor that it can get. That place is gutted. It's been captured. And the fight in Joburg is between those who want to deliver services to people who want government to work and those who want to extract benefits from government. That is the fundamental zero-sum game in our politics. If you have an experienced politician who's run a successful municipality, you've tried to disparage that, but you haven't really explained it, who's run a successful provincial government, who has got a track record of integrity, of hard work, of sacrifice, why on earth would the DA not, for the biggest city, for the economically most important city in the country, I even say that even living in Pretoria, Joburg is incredibly important. Why would you not field somebody like that in order to run the city? I do not regard that as failure. I regard that as definitive of the divide in our politics. And you're in la la land if you think that the fight in Joburg is about who's got the most personality, who's got the most social media charm. It is about getting things done. It's about doing the heavy lifting. It's about shutting down networks of corruption and creating order in an environment that is slowly eating away at the infrastructure, at the services, at the finances of the city. If Joburg does not get a shock treatment, that city is going to crumble. And the implications go way beyond the residents of Johannesburg. That is our economic heartland. And so I am confident that Helen will do an excellent job at steering that place in a different direction.
Johannesburg is our top 10 richest country in Africa.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's richer than some countries that we can speak of that are actually powerhouses in Africa. It does need a great leader. But my question was DA failed. And I love how you deflected. That was very good. Well done. DA has failed.
Your question is a false premise.
It's not a false premise.
You got a false premise,
finish
and
it.
then when I challenge the false premise, you're like, you've misdirected.
Okay. Say, let's give, and God forbid, she kicks the bucket. Who's going to take that position?
The DA has got a very strong set of leaders in Johannesburg, including our caucus leader. So that's not a concern of me at all. I'm far more worried that a buffoon like Dada Marero gets back into the position of office.
We can both agree on that.
That is a far bigger risk. And here's the thing about a lot of your positions on the DA. Politics is a multiple choice game. It's not about what wonderful scenarios you can imagine. It is about the choices that are on offer. It is about who is willing to make the sacrifices to serve in that position, to do the right thing, to take the punches, and who is not. It's not a choice in this country between the DA and paradise. It is a choice between the DA and the ANC. And I can tell you, we are far closer to doing a good job, to actually benefiting the vast majority of people who don't live on political connections and tenders, the vast majority of whom are Black South Africans who hope for economic growth, for advancement, for government to do its job. That's the choice. It's not a confusing thing.
Let's give common ground here. We both understand that cadre deployment is a problem. It's a massive issue, enriching a certain group of people so they can refund the ANC, and we're good to go.
And refund themselves. Some cadres complain that the movement doesn't get money anymore. The cadres just pocket the money themselves.
What's that 170-something million debt? And that same person went to go see some property and says they're not mad at the ANC. It doesn't make sense to me, but moving on. So we do understand it's a problem. But now the question that is being asked here is that, and I said this earlier and you didn't quite piece it together, is that, okay, DA is naturally a white party from the eyes of the people. Now it has benefit white areas. I live in those white areas. And those white areas are starting to fall apart. You say that, well, it's a national government problem. You don't have your hands where you need to have it. But let me finish.
You're making a lot of summaries here of things that have been explained in far more detail.
Let me finish that one. Now, we're looking at one or two things that you've mentioned that DA has done in the township, where the majority of the people
I was
live.
ready to go on. You stopped me.
Okay. And now with that being said, why do Black people in South Africa still feel they cannot trust you? Why do the Black people in South Africa still feel they cannot trust you?
Between 800,000 and 1 million Black South Africans vote for the DA. That is not enough. We want to grow that group of people, but you can't just simply ignore them. Interesting question would be to say, why are there Black South Africans that do, despite all of the media attacks, despite the very hostile environment that we face as a party, the racialized rhetoric that pretends that liberal democracy is somehow a racialized project. Why do South Africans still turn to the DA? But of course, we've got a very divided history in this country. The ANC dominated our politics for 30 years. That dominance is only now coming to an end. Democracy has to evolve. The common interests that people have across divisions of race need to be realized. You have the ANC that still campaigns 2 weeks before the election, telling grandmothers that if they were to turn against the ANC, they would lose their pensions. That's not a rumor. That is an ANC mobilization effort. And if you haven't heard that,
I have not heard it. You tell
if
me
you
more.
haven't
Where
heard
was it
that,
said?
my friend, I'm going to take you with me during the next election campaign. In fact, it's not just that. It's intimidation, it's threats. But slowly but surely, the ANC's majority is receding. And as South Africans do realize their common purpose, more Black South Africans will vote for the DA. And I also think as you have few of these commentariat who've acted as sort of the judges of public opinion, the mediators of public opinion, as people hear directly from political leaders, I think that more and more Black South Africans will turn to the DA. And listen, our project is to serve the whole of South Africa. We do not obsess over each and every difference. Differences are important, has to be acknowledged. Our project is to build an open opportunity society for all South Africans, to build a capable state, a free market economy that can grow, that can create prosperity, non-racialism, and the rule of law. Those are values that speak to people regardless of race. It's an incredibly important project. And we will continue learning. We're not perfect as the DA. We've never said we're perfect. We'll continue learning. We'll continue adapting. But I don't think it's a situation at all of saying that our potential is somehow limited to white, colored, and Indian. So the DA is far more of a colored party today than it's a white party.
I wanted to ask you based on that now. A lot less hostility, a lot more honesty now. To you, what does it mean to be South African?
I love this country. I see the future of my own family and my own children in this country. I see the potential of the people of this country. I see us bridging divisions which have kept us apart for decades being overcome. And those divisions I've spoken about. It's the divisions between those folks who want government to work, who want there to be accountability and strong leadership, and those who simply want to position themselves to benefit from government. The majority of South Africans share a sense of value, share a sense of hope and optimism for the future. That is what I see. And I can tell you that as many of us, I've had opportunity to think, should we not maybe do this thing somewhere else? Should I not prepare my children for a life in some other place? And no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fight for this place because I see hope and I see a future here.
I'm going to take a couple steps back because that question was not answered. I'll give another opportunity.
I'm sorry.
What does it mean?
No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. You don't get to ask me a question.
Hang on,
which
let me
I
finish.
sincerely answer, and
I
then
do believe it was a sincere answer. But you didn't answer the question. You answered something else.
Asked and answered.
Right, you answered something else.
If you want to know something else, you can ask me something else. But I'm not going to get you telling me that I haven't given you the answer that you wanted.
No, it's not what I wanted. The answer was not answered at all. We'll have another opportunity.
I'm not going to answer the same
You're not
question.
going to make.
I'm not
Okay.
going to answer. I've
I'm
answered
gonna let
you.
that be.
I'm going to answer. I've answered you.
Now, the final closing.
Yes.
Also, one of those things. Now, this one is open-ended. You may go whichever direction.
You're not going to tell me if I answered it right or wrong. You're not going
No,
to score
because
me
this
on
one
this
is this one is the previous one. I don't think you did too good at it. And it's
Do
not,
I get to score your questions?
you may.
I have been doing that.
Yeah, you have
I
been
have
doing
been
that this whole time.
Yes, I have.
And I've not
Yeah.
fought it. You become mayor. Previously, you've been voted out, vote of no confidence, sabotage or not. You become mayor now, and you do your 5-term run. What do I see at the end of 2031?
More money spent on infrastructure projects to stabilize electricity, water in taps, not water in tankers, improved financial sustainability, improved accountability for the money spent, and us solving our problems not by putting in new taxes and raising bills to astronomical amounts, but creating an environment where companies would want to build, develop, invest, and employ people. Safer streets, cleaner streets, more stable supply of water and electricity, more accountability. That is our offer.
We have 4 cities, the 4 townships, 4 main townships in the area, maybe 5. Atteridgeville, Mamelodi, Soshanguve, Mabopane, Hancock, make that 1, and Hammanskraal. These are the 4 that we're talking about.
I live in Bosch, you can add there as well.
Now, out of those 5, what differences will we see? Because a lot of the people are in those areas. What differences are we going to see outside the generic? I'll fix water, I'll make sure there's housing. What will we see?
That's not just generic. That is the fundamental basis of local government.
I 100%
Because
agree.
if you cannot
But
get
paint the
clean
picture
water
for
in
the
your
people.
taps, it affects every aspect of your life. Hammanskraal, you'll get clean water in your taps and no more water tankers in the streets. Reliable supply of water. Finishing the Hammanskraal Clean Water Project. Soshanguve, we will connect Block JJ to the new power lines, will stabilize the supply of electricity. There are parts of Mamelodi that still also depend, Ikageng in particular, depend on water tankering, especially because of illegal connections. And our commitment is to restore the order and the public safety and the enforcement of rules so that people who live in Mamelodi down the line aren't affected. But on top of all of those things, and you asked for specifics, because I see that very specifically in my mind. But on top of all of that, living in a city where your contributions actually go towards building up the infrastructure of the city so that companies invest in the city and create jobs. You can talk about using the city's power stations, and you can tell me that doesn't relate to township folk. It does relate to township folk, because if we can get Pretoria West and Rooiwal power stations in the hands of IPPs, we can generate electricity independent of Eskom. We can gradually bring down the price of electricity. We can also give manufacturers a stable supply to say there are investable conditions in the city of Tshwane that creates jobs. It's not the whole thing. This country is very much a place where power is centralized in the hands of national government. National government policy determines a lot of the economic and social conditions of people, but at least if cities are well run, it becomes not an impediment to growth and progress, but it spurs it.
I did say that was the last question. But
You did. Now you're breaking your own rules.
I'm breaking my own rules. I am. Do you think the governance was better with GNU or before GNU?
I think the government of national unity still has a lot of work to do to show a difference.
So not quite yet.
Not quite yet. I think it's good that we don't have an ANC dominant government. There have been some important reforms. There have been some important changes. But my overall criticism of the GNU is on record. I don't hide it. I believe that there could be far better power sharing between the parties there. But I think the ANC is stuck in a mindset that these other parties aren't coalition partners. They're just participating at the ANC's pleasure.
They're filling in positions, actually.
Yeah, I think that is the approach that the ANC has. I don't think that they've gotten used to losing power, but it's always, as I said before, politics is a multiple choice game, also for political leaders to say what is the alternative to the GNU. And at present, the alternative
It's full-on majority.
is not at all better.
It's not going to happen anytime soon, full-on majority. But say, for example,
I don't think that will ever happen again in this country. Our electoral system is built for. They didn't think about this when they were negotiating.
But it was always the case. If you look from the time of the NP when they faded out, and the DP and the DA came in, it was actually always like a lot of seatings. But we'll have that discussion a little bit later.
So even if the alternative is a majority government, no party has a majority at present. So what I'm saying is the DA's continued participation in the GNU, given the options that are on the table, I think it's the best possible thing for the country. But we can do far better as a GNU if there's significant power sharing and a change of key policies.
And that was my question that I wanted to ask. If you
Your last
question.
All right.
Galston always breaks the rules when necessary for the sake of the conversation. But if you had to, a DA had to get majority, right? And I'm not talking about outright majority, 67%. I'm talking about, say, 43%. Who would you put in as part of your coalition? Who would come to the table to have that negotiation? And who are not going to have that, going to be part of the topic?
I wanted, when you initially asked that question, I wanted to say it's very hypothetical because, I'm sitting here, I am a mayoral candidate. You're talking like above my pay grade there. So I would be very, very wary of parties that reject the Constitution outright. I mean, the Constitution is not holy writ. Even the Constitution itself has got provisions for being changed. But a party like MK, who rejects the entire constitutional basis, I don't think a party such as the DA would have a very happy relationship with MK. And I don't think we'll move the country forward. The EFF is another party who have, endorsed very, very unconstitutional practices, hard race rhetoric, which divides the country. Their leaders have been implicated directly in state capture, in the looting of EBS Bank. So, the pairing that there is now
brings you back to ANC, because the others combined would not be enough to make you sit.
Yeah.
So you would bring ANC back into the picture.
As your favorite, Helen Zille says, politics.
Now she's my favorite.
Politics is I made an ironic comment. Politics is always about choosing the best worst option, and the country has to be governed. It's not about paradise or what's on offer. It's about what is the best configuration of the parties that there are now. I am certainly not inspired by President Cyril Ramaphosa, but I'd rather have him there than John Hlophe or Paul Mashatile. And so you've got to govern with the numbers that you have, and people also have given a mandate. South Africans have voted in a particular way, and you've got to deal with that as a politician. You don't have perfect options.
And if the situation changes and all the center-right parties decide to have a lot more votes, would you go into bed with them and throw ANC out?
You'd always want to align yourself to parties that are closer to your fundamental values. So that's why the party tried with the multi-party charter, this so-called Moonshot Pact. If the Moonshot Pact had a significant electoral mandate, if parties such as Action SA, in fact, grew instead of shrinking, which they did, there would be an opportunity.
You'd have a fight with Herman Mashaba saying
but
that.
luckily, you're not an agent of Herman Mashaba.
Oh, no. Luckily, I see what you did there.
So if the MPC had done better, we could have, for example, governed Gauteng. We could have had Gauteng, and that would have given a very strong basis. And you would prefer a coalition with parties that are more aligned to your economic and social program to parties that aren't. But listen, who knows what's going to happen to the ANC? It's a party that's coming apart. It's a collection of people with various different beliefs. It's really difficult to say what the ANC stands for still. And you also, when you deal with the ANC, you don't know who you're talking to, like what faction you're talking. So, we have to make the best with what we have in this country, but I believe it can be done.
Cilliers, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the conversation. We had to put our boxing gloves on, and we had to punch this out. The idea of the G2G podcast is to test the quality of a man. I am one who's running for office as well.
You're running for office?
I'm running for
You
office.
should have told me that beforehand. What are you're running for Mayor of Tshwane?
No, city of Johannesburg. I'm going to the championships, right? I'm going to run
For
for
what
it.
party?
Oh, I'm going to run this on my own.
But how are you gonna get proportional representatives if you're running as an independent?
Well, I didn't say I'm running it as independent. I'm saying I'm running on my own.
Oh, you're gonna start your own gig, your own
Well,
party.
we'll have the discussion
All right.
off camera, right?
Okay.
And this is not to give you pointers or to give you what I'm trying to do, but it's just to say that I'm not ready to have that kind of announcement yet. But the announcement has been made that I am running, for the city. But the idea of G2G is to test the man that you are, to test the people that are in.
You're running for Joburg.
I'm running for the city of Johannesburg.
Okay. All right. No, I just wanted to check.
Why are you so worried?
No, I just check.
The only city of Johannesburg. I'm talking about that city. I'm running for that city.
Okay. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Can I finish my conclusion?
Sure, it's your show. Over to you. Over to you.
All right. So it is to test. Now, it is not my job to tell you what I feel. It's the audience. At the end of the day, I'm just one man. It's about them. Do they trust you? Do they feel that you're going to be the man for the position? This show, this podcast, tries to encourage people to do the right thing. And that's what I want to do. Because I do not know you to that level, I cannot endorse or unendorse you. But I would say, for what it's worth, this country is a beautiful one. And you gave an answer to a question I didn't ask, which was you would fight for this country for what it's worth. Continue fighting for the country, not just for yourself. Fight for this country as best as you can. I'm going to be here for a very, very long time. And for damn sure, I'm going to do my fighting too. But let it be to one common goal, to make this country what it used to be and what it can be, which is good.
Amen.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, we had this discussion, and I know a lot of keyboard warriors love to say, oh, he's a black racist. Oh, he loves white people. Oh, he's just racist. Whatever. The idea here is to test as much as we can be by every different corner possible. So if you're a keyboard warrior, please rest. And those that can actually use their mind a little bit more, may you have your comments, because we would like to share ideas here for the better of the entire country. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. 96% of the people that watch my podcast are not subscribed. So please just increase my number so I can get that silver plaque or whatever they call it. Until next time. Peace out.